Hey everyone, welcome to the CTO podcast. We know that you were about to start watching the last episode of season 2 with Daniela da Cruz, but unfortunately, due to some technical issues, the sound quality on the recording was not as good as we expected, mainly in the intro.
We would like to apologize and we'll summarize Daniela's intro so that you don't miss a bit of this amazing talk. So just like we mentioned, the guest of this episode is Daniela da Cruz. And, for the ones that don't know Daniela, she's VP of Engineering at Checkmarkx.
And in Daniela's own words, it all started when she was at high school and she wanted to be a math teacher. But after getting advice from one of her teachers, she gave up on the idea and pursued mathematics and computer science, since it already had a math in the background. And on her third year, she started to teach. And after that, she focused more on computer science, although she never lost her passion for math.
And, after Daniela finishing her 5-year degree, she went for the Ph.D. And during the Ph.D., she signed up on a platform searching for work opportunities. And it was very interesting for her. So she had, to build gradually her reputation on the platform. And truth be told, after doing, small jobs here and there using the platform, she ended up being on the top 300 out of 500,000 users. And obviously, Daniela is super proud of that. And she even highlighted how fair the platform was in rating the talent that was using the platform. With all of this being said, I think now we can go back to Daniela and hear directly from her how she met Checkmarkx.
So it was a really nice experience. And then suddenly I started to work with different people in different places of the world. I work with people from Australia, from US, UK, everywhere in Europe. And actually I keep those contacts even today, that sometimes I travel to this to US and UK. I meet them there just for fun to say, okay, how things progressed. I worked in different areas. One of them was actually stock trades, doing indicators because it requires a lot of math. So in the end, I was still doing what I enjoyed, but with computer science. And that's where actually my story with Checkmarkx started. Because back then in 2011, they approached me, actually the CTO, approached me for a project. I had no idea what company I was working for. They asked me for a very specific task. I did my proposal, and my strategy, I must say, to win the project was to do a kind of POC of what I was able to do. I delivered a small part of the project, like 1 day of work, and do my proposal, and then they can evaluate the quality. And I got accepted. CTO did his hard work saying, well, I have other job offers, so I need to consider. If you have the time to do the POC, that's okay, but I won't wait. In the end, he waited and they selected me. And that's all I started after 6 months. And actually, after 3 months, I finished the project. And 3 months later, he proposed me another one. And after the second one, they invite me to go to Israel, just to know the company, to know what they were doing. And they proposed me a full-time job. At that time, I couldn't, or I didn't want to accept because I had a contract with an university and I want to finish it in a proper way. So I started with part-time as employee of them. And then 6 months after, I started a full-time employee of Checkmarkx. And here I am.
Fantastic. Wow, no, crazy.
What a story.
What a story.
Yeah, a little bit crazy, yes.
And tell us one thing. And so when you first decided to go to the PhD, so that's actually one super interesting thing that at least, talking with recent grads, I've been asked a lot, should I go to my master? Shouldn't I? Some have a master and have the same question regarding the PhD. I'm definitely biased. For instance, I have a master, I don't have the PhD. And usually I really ask people what they really want to take out of it, in the sense that, at least the PhD, or you're really investigating into a very specific branch of science and you really want to dig very deeply into a problem, or usually it's kind of, you're paving the road for some sort of kind of academic career, teaching in university and so on and so forth. And so I really tend to say people, look, it really depends what you want to do. How was your decisions in terms of PhD? Would you do that again?
Definitely.
Wow, nice.
First, okay, because I really enjoyed those times because I really like research. That's still my passion. And the good thing at Checkmarkx, we can do it. We have actually an innovation group where we're heavily investing in innovation. But back then on my PhD, that's what I really wanted to do. Of course, being a teacher, it was a way to support your research. At least is the way it works a little bit in Portugal.
Yep.
But that was my goal. I really wanted to pursue the academic research because I really enjoyed investigation, searching for new fields, for new things. I was actually very focused on source code analysis. That actually is one of the key things in Checkmarkx. It was an easy choice for me once I started to work with Checkmarkx. But I really like that area. I really like to explore new stuff. And for me, only the fact that you are trying to find something new, give your contribution to some specific area, it was exciting. And additionally, the fact that you can write papers and going to conferences and meet people on the same area, for me, was the payment, let's call it like that. It was really enjoying that process, writing, submitting, waiting for the acceptance or rejection, a lot of them. It's part of the process. I must say that my first year of the PhD was really tough. It's not only good things because you need to get used to the rejection, and then you start to doubt about yourself. I'm doing a good choice, the good job, but after all, it's just your first year. You are not expected to have already output. Then the second year, things got to be better, the third even better, and I finished in the fourth year inside or in the time frame that I was expected. And with several articles in different conferences and journals. And I really enjoy that process to give my mark and, to talk with different people. I really enjoy that process. That's why I say that if I do it again, yes, I would. And I even consider myself sometimes, but I don't have the time
would you go for a postdoc?
Yeah, actually, I submitted to the postdoc.
Oh, wow.
And again, it's not all about good things. There were at the time 20 grants. I got in 21.
Okay. So what a shame.
It was just for that. And then
Yeah.
I actually it was a decision. I said, okay, I can't afford the postdoc because there are other ways to support it and it's very expensive. So I decided to continue with my academic career without the research. I was still a teacher in the university, in a different university. And then that's when I started I had in parallel the freelance. I was doing many things in parallel. I'm that kind of person. I can't stand with just a single one. It's good and bad, but yeah. So you get good things and bad things because sometimes you get not focused. But I was able to teach, doing freelancer and do some teach. So I was doing a little bit here and there because I wanted to have, at some point, the option to choose what I wanted to do. And
I see.
That's when I.
But you're not teaching anymore, are you?
I am.
You're still teaching. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
I need to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, please continue. Yeah.
I still teach, not that much, of course, because I don't have that time. But one of my requirements from Checkmarkx was to allow me to still teach. I presented my arguments. First, I really enjoyed, as I said, the process of teaching people to know something that they don't know, the process of teaching them how to solve problems using computer science. I really like the algorithms part. I really like the way to solve complex problems, a challenging problem for me. I can be one day thinking about it, and that's actually that process I enjoy and see the end result. And one of the things I asked was to allow me to still teach, and I'm still doing it. And I'm still teaching computer science. I really like that. And I usually also, of course, use it to capture talent to other.
Clever.
I always say, I'm working at Checkmarkx. We have these open positions. I don't force it, of course. Whoever wants, they can join. And actually, it's a good connection. And one of the key things I still preserve is not only because I enjoy teaching, is because at that time I felt that when I was doing my degree, we didn't have that much connection with the industry. That give you that perspective. You know, it's I know that universities are now much more doing an effort to be close to the industry, and you see the effects of it. But at that time, at my time, we didn't. So you don't know actually what the companies are using. I'm teaching something that is outdated or not, it's not useful, or it is. So usually the students actually come to me and ask, is this what we are learning useful? You know, the typical question, is math that useful for computer science? And I always say, it depends. It really depends on which way you are working. If you are working computer graphics, yes, you need. There is no way to escape from math. But if you are doing traditional software development, it's more algorithms, abstract thinking. So I try to reason with them to see what is really important, what the industry is working. And I really like to keep this connection with the universities for that reason, because I think that I can bring some industry knowledge for the students to even sometimes proposing workshops or different. I am not only teaching, but sometimes I propose workshops in even advanced programming, things that usually they don't have the time to learn while doing the basic courses in their degree, or even security wise, we did a few ones, and not only me, proposing different people from the company to go there and bring awareness of different topics, because security again is not a topic in universities. So bring some awareness around, and not connected to Checkmarkx. I don't know. Well, I can say I can work at Checkmarkx, but it's not my intention. Is just to bring the awareness, just to bring my technical knowledge, because I really think that it's what at some point universities were missing. So that's why I keep teaching, because I like, and because I think I can bring something.
Yeah, and you can make the bridge between the two worlds.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that it's really valuable, because I felt that when I did the master thesis together with OutSystems. So I was still studying, but already in the company, and it was very interesting to see connecting the dots, seeing how things were mapped. So it's really good that you are doing that. I'm curious about other thing. So being you a VP of engineering and also teaching at the same time, how do you balance those two roles? Do they get in conflicts between priorities and time management?
No, because I can actually, the university knows about it, and they are very open, and they know that once they invite people from the outside that we have time constraints. I usually ask for the times that give me more flexibility. For instance, I can say that in Israel, they are working from Sunday to Thursday. So there is 1 day gap between us. So I usually say, for me, Friday is usually easier. So they allocate one part of the classes on that time, so I can manage, and the other during the week. But both, everyone knows in Checkmarkx that I'm teaching, and everyone knows in university that I'm working at Checkmarkx. So I can find, it's not always easy. And I can say that one of the things that I bring awareness to my students is exactly that. Sometimes I might miss one class here and might one class there, because there are priorities. And after all, I'm Checkmarkx full-time, and I need to give some priority. But I think in the end, I'm able to manage. I want to believe that I am, at least.
Yeah.
One thing that we spoke about a little bit was, talking with students, with recent grads, understanding first opportunities, to enter the job market. And for instance, I entered the job market at the very beginning of the year 2000. So it was like 2001, I think. So I'm not the youngest person around. and one thing that I'm under the impression, I would love your take, Danielle, is that so the industry, in my opinion, really changed a lot in these last 20 years. I think that, early 2000s, even early 2010, we had a lot of services, a lot of outsourcing. It's almost like we were just kind of, very project oriented. We didn't see a lot of startups developing products. It was, at least in my opinion, it was like minimal. Yeah. And industry changed a lot. I'm curious to know what you think about our recent grads. We are seeing companies from abroad, all of them is a very strong expression, but a lot of them moving to Portugal. We are seeing so many companies now investing in Portuguese talent.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering, how do you see that this evolution also occurred in our students? Do you see our students today better equipped, to join these sort of companies? Do you think that the industry puts some sort of pressure for universities also to, to level up their game in order to produce a better product? What's your take on all of this?
Yeah, I think that definitely it changed. That's why I said that having this connection with the industry, between the industry and the university, is very, very important, because otherwise it's too late. Once you finish your grad, you are not prepared. And I think that once back in our years, we were not prepared. It was a shock. Once you get into it was a all new reality. I think that now, and I see from my students that, for instance, they are in their last semester and they are already working with some companies. So it's good that they have this openness, even because, okay, with the bachelor, the way that is built today, they have more free time. In our times, it was not like that, but they have actually 3 days. So they can actually go for a professional experience, and they are open to that. And they actually are the ones proposing themselves sometimes for these positions. So I think that they are better equipped on that matter. And also, as I said, because they have different teachers from the industry that bring that knowledge to them. So I think in general, they are better equipped, and definitely it's a trend in my perspective. I see almost every day we have actually, I just came from a meeting from an Israeli company that wants to come to Portugal for the same reason. They know Checkmarkx, and they wanted to know if we still have talent. I said, oh yeah, of course, we always have the talent, and every year we have thousands or at least hundreds of students getting out of the university prepared for that, for this level. So I think definitely we are now recognized as a source of very good talent, and we see it from juniors to seniors, and I think that really the juniors are really good at this moment, and they, of course, internet and the way everything exposes also helps to have a comparison. What industry is looking outside of Portugal? Because a few years ago, I think there was a kind of gap. You see companies in Portugal working different technologies that the trendy ones in Europe, for instance, or US or some was different. Yeah. Nowadays, there is not, or I don't think there is. So they can see that we are on the same pace as the other countries, using the same technologies, in the same trend. And this is good, because it means like what you are learning, what you are working, even in a company, is updated. You are not outdated. And I think that a few years ago, we had this fear that, okay, maybe I'm using the wrong technologies in this company. But as you said, there are a lot of startups, and usually startups using the most advanced technology, because they can choose. So I think that this also allowed the people to see that we are also on the top of the trend, using the latest technologies. And I think definitely students are nowadays much more prepared.
That's so interesting that you're saying that, because I completely agree that we have great talent in Portugal. Talent is not running out. The talent is pretty much here, and even more interesting now with remote work, we don't even need to move to somewhere else. So the talent is here in Portugal. Now it's just a matter of how you want to attract the talent. But I couldn't agree more. The talent is here. And if I may, and kind of doing a little bit of futurology here, I think that the best is still to come, just in one sense, that is the sort of juniors engineers that are now arriving to the market, in these last maybe 4 years, 5 years, they are juniors that pretty much already entered the startup scene, building products, having great engineering practices. And so I think that these engineers from this sort of generation, from these last kind of 4 years, will become even better seniors than the current seniors that we have. Because the seniors that we have today, sure, they have a great career, of course, and they are super valuable, but probably they have like a part of their career that they missed out on this scene, that the engineers that joined already this sort of wave, when we get to the staff engineer, principal, those super senior profiles, I think that we are still going to get super relevant people, although we already have some, but I think that we're going to have even more. and I think that Portugal can even become more competitive in terms of talent.
I fully agree, and that's why I always say to people that once they, even different companies I spoke with in the last weeks, they want to come to Portugal, and of course the first thing that they ask is, what about seniors? Do you have still seniors? And said, yeah, we do, but of course juniors are the easiest ones. But I think the key is the balance, because as far I really try to balance my teams with juniors and seniors, because in one side we have the seniors that have the critical thinking, that they have a different perspective, they have the knowledge, but in the other side we have the juniors that are coming with fresh blood, as I say, okay, because the fresh ideas, different perspectives, challenging our perspective. And I think that's here actually where we can see, and as you said, that the juniors right now will be much better seniors in the future, because they are used to a different landscape that our seniors right now, because it changed completely in the last year. So definitely I agree, and I think that the key is the balance between those things.
What about, so the time that you were staying in Israel, right? Because you worked there, what are the biggest differences that you see in the tech scene and the talents? Yeah, on
and
that
culture
area.
and cultural
And
too,
culture,
because
yeah.
I've
Yeah,
already been told that we are very similar to
Yeah.
from people too. So please
Really?
tell us about that.
Yes,
That I
exactly.
didn't
It's
know.
funny because it's so far, but still I think that the way I was a little bit afraid that there was a kind of cultural issue, but no, not at all. First, they speak much more than us. That's one key difference. I think that once I start work, there was a noticeable difference in the way we approach our manager, at least from my experience. They have a very open communication, and I really appreciated that. The way that they look to their managers on the other way around, there is no difference. I can say no to my manager, and the other way around. They have really open discussions. Sometimes it was a little bit scary because they really look like fighting, but no, it was really open discussion. Then in the end, they leave the room, and that's all good. They're just keeping doing laugh, and they said, okay, that's their normal stuff. For us, it will be a little bit maybe awkward. I think that we are not in that yet. We have open discussions, but we are more polite, I will say. And they are the first ones to say that they are not polite. Okay, so it's okay. I'm saying that,
Okay.
and you see that it's actually that they can really fighting in the room and arguing with each other, but then they leave the room. That's all good. It was a work discussion, and you say, okay, so that's something. It's different. We take it more personally, I think. But cultural-wise, it was really okay. But from the tech scene, it's really crazy because they have startups popping up every day. You can see them. And actually, even if you look into the stock market and the IPOs that happened last year, most of them are from the Israeli tech scene. So, and one of the reasons is because they really encourage people as a first job to do a startup, to open. Actually, one of my questions that my CTO asked me, why you never think about having a startup? I said, because it's not my scene. I said, how come? Because everyone here is doing it. Even if it's for failure,
So
it's
natural.
Wow. Said, yeah, not for us. It's not. We are encouraging more and more, but for them is. I still have people that sometimes leave. I'm not just pursuing another company. I'm just opening my thing. I really want to invest in my startup. I really want to have my own business. They have really this thing. It's really different from us, and that's why they actually, of course, they fail, but they also have high number of startups being successful, and it's really also part of the way they encourage this while they have the military before their degree. So from 18 to 21, they need, it's required.
It's mandatory, right?
Either girls or boys, they need to go to the military. So they have 3 years that they can do different stuff. And for instance, my CTO opened the company after this because he was working on the cybersecurity on the IDF, is the intelligence, military intelligence there, and he was focused there. He saw an opportunity there, and that's how he opened the company. And many of them also are doing this. Once they finish the military part, they are doing a startup. They are actually starting much later than us once we see the grads, because our grads are leaving like 21, 22, then is like 26. So it's actually pretty late, but they are, in my perspective, in a different mature state. They know what they can invest, what they can do. They have a different perspective of the world. They have their own difficulties that most likely our young people didn't have. They had to struggle. They need to deal with a different reality, live far from the parents in a different perspective. So I think that all of these bring them to a different level of these startups. They really want to succeed in doing something that they enjoy, and then they are pursuing other natural careers as we are doing. But yeah, I think that the main tech scene difference we see in between Portugal and Israel.
Yeah. And talking about those times, so those are the times where you were working for Checkmarkx as a developer, right?
Yes.
And that was like 11 years ago. And then you keep growing into a more leadership career,
Yes.
and as a lead, a group lead, director,
Yes.
and now a VP. How did that happen? And was your ambition since the beginning becoming to this level? And how did you choose between a tech career and a management career?
First, it wasn't an easy decision because I'm really a technical person. I still like to do my programming. I do it from time to time. It's not that easy, but I still do it. But it was a natural progression. Okay, I never thought in being as in the place I am today. It was actually once I started to Checkmarkx, he said maybe okay, since you are in Portugal and you are working alone, maybe it's good to have maybe two other people. And we were 3, then we were 6, then we were 12, then we were 20. Now, in the overall Braga site, we are 180. Until the end of the year, we'll be 200.
Amazing.
Not all everyone under me, of course, because my team is actually split between Portugal and Israel. At some time, I was, until the team leader or even the group leader position, I was doing both. I was doing being a tech lead, and it was not that big, and the team leader. But then at some point you need to choose. So for me, I really like to, one of the things I really like on this position is the way I can influence people to challenge themselves, to be better leaders, to mentor them, to coach them, to see how they can also progress in their career. Is one of the things that I actually enjoy on this position, that I can show them or show the people their own path. Sometimes it's say, okay, you are good doing a tech lead, so team leader is not, or a person or people leading is not your thing, or in the other way around. And I really like to work with people on that, to expose their skills, improve their skills, see that everything they aim to, they can if they are focused. So I think that is one of the things I really enjoy on this position, while of course delivering products, and because in the end it's what we are expected to do. And actually I think it's one of the things I'm most enjoying doing this position as VP.
And how does Checkmarkx, and your colleagues saw all of this, right? So I know that we are talking about a very interesting number of years, but nevertheless you have all these trajectory. Sometimes we actually see, those sort of positions being, always hired, not kind of an internal move. And in your case in particular, so not only you were not in Israel, it was pretty much an internal progression. So how does, your peers, maybe, I don't know if your CTO is still the same, the one that...
Yes, it is.
So what he would say, about you if we would have him on the show. We don't have him, by the way, but imagine that we do. Well, how do what do you think about all that?
One of the things that I actually enjoy in Checkmarkx is that they really invest in people, on the people they have. I also try to do it. I think that it's always better to promote someone inside if they have the skills. If they don't, of course, we need to go look for outside. But it's really an investment. And once I look into my peers, I think that they were really proud to see someone progressing. Some of them progressed with me as well, because once I left the position, I had to promote someone. And usually I prepare. One of the things that I learned from my previous manager actually is like you are doing a good job, you are going out or going vacations, and you don't need to worry, because it means like you prepare people right.
Absolutely.
And I really strive for that. I really like to prepare people that they don't need to wait for me to take decisions. They don't need to wait for me to proceed if they have tools. If I'm in vacations, they can do it everything. If I'm out, I have been in maternity leave for twice in a row, and they were able to handle it. So it was really good to see that I was checking from time to time, but it was I knew that they were in good hands. And I think that's the main thing, that once people see you progressing, but they are also progressing with you, they can see that they also have opportunities that they can pursue it. And one of the things I always ask to my CTO is to keep challenging me in different things, either proposing difficult projects, because he belongs to the innovation group. So he really is pushing things forward and say, once you have an innovation project that you want to explore, please consider me. And he always did that. And he knew that, okay, it's the things I like, it's the things that I want to challenge her. And I think that's the key thing that I keep on Checkmark, because I kept growing, I kept challenged. It's my main thing. I keep learning in different directions, technical, leadership, definitely in the leadership. I had very good mentors as well. Actually, Checkmarx is promoting to have mentors. Once I was started my director, I had one external mentor, like just to explore what you want to be, where you want to be in the next years. I don't like that question, actually, because I never planned my career in that way. So it was happening. So it's a difficult question, but I really like to talk in general what I want to see next. And Checkmarx is really promoting these kind of things, to have a coach, to have a mentor. And it was really good, because sometimes your perspective is different from a person from the outside. So they show you different things that sometimes you don't look at. So I think it's one of the key things. People saw me, they progressed with me. And as you said, once I always managed Portuguese people until 1 year ago. And then suddenly I'm starting to manage Israeli people. I think that was actually very good for the Portuguese side, because they saw they are the headquarters, and naturally most of the managers are there. Nowadays it's a little bit different. We have now already people managing either here or in other countries. So I think it was a good sign for the people in both directions as well. I didn't have any resistance from the Israelis, because for them I think it was a natural choice once I was proposed to this position. So I think it was a good thing in the end.
No, for sure.
We can say that you are the living proof that there is opportunities inside Checkmarx, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, I guess we need to go to the final questions. What do you think, Pedro?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah? So I will start with the first one. So I'm curious about these. What do you believe is your superpower?
It's exactly what I mentioned before. I think I have a sense of feeling people. Once I really care about people. That's the first thing. I think that we can't look at people working with us as just numbers. And that's why I really like to work at Checkmarx. I don't see that people is looking to me as another person. We are individuals. I really look for individual aspects of the people. I really care about what they are enjoying, what they are like to do. One of the questions I keep doing to my people is, from the moment you feel that something is not progressing as you expected, or you are not doing things that you enjoy, just let me know. The first one, I really want to be the first one to know, because we can always change it. We have many opportunities. We have different ways of tackle this. So I think that my superpower is like, I really like to take care of people, I would say.
Now, imagine that you could choose any, job in the world. It can be, something that you only do like for 5 minutes. It could be a full day. Anything that
or
you
at the
like
same
to
time.
Oh, exactly. Like another thing. It will be exclusive. Let's make it no multitasking. Exclusive.
No multitasking.
You could try it out, and just see how it goes, and then just return back to your normal life. what
I have
would that be?
okay, that's an interesting question. I have many projects in my head that I would like to pursue, different things. So programming is actually one of the things that I would like to do, like a week in a row, 5 days in a row, do it end to end without being disturbed, because I
Okay.
really like the challenge. I have a difficult problem. I will sit doing nothing else, focus on that, and we'll finish until the end. And I will be super happy with that. I know it's a nerd thing, but but it's what really
Fair
like
enough.
I really like that part, and learn new technologies, put it in practice, see in action, and see it live in a product. For me, it's what drives me. So yeah,
Good.
I know that right now people are doing it. I'm just under my leadership, but yeah, I really like that process, and do it in person. It will be amazing.
If your
Sometimes I
team
say I will
listens
take
to
one.
these,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
will come up with
exactly.
a challenge to give to you.
No, sometimes I say I'll take 1 week of vacation just to do this, but I never do it. Yeah, so yeah, priorities.
So let's end with the sweet touch. Yep. So Daniela, if you had to choose your favorite desserts, and now I'm going to choose between Portugal and Israel. So which one do you choose from each?
I will choose Portugal because Israeli sweets are really sweet,
Okay.
too
Ah,
sweet. In
too
my
sweet.
perspective, baklava, it's one of the things, and I think for
Baklava.
me
There you go.
it's too sweet. It's good, but it's too sweet for me. So I will stick to the Portuguese ones, and I will call the pudding about priscos, if you know
It's
it.
super sweet too.
I know, but
That's how sweet
yeah,
Israel is then.
I think it's even more. But
Oh
it's
wow.
yeah. So it's not fair, but still I prefer ours. So yeah,
Boom. There you go.
Another one
between
for our
others.
book of desserts of our
Yeah.
guests.
Yes, we're going to publish this. You know,
Yep.
sometime in the future,
It's a
we're
great.
going to publish like desserts with technical leaders, and we're going to kind of have an entire book
Oh
out of them.
yeah, yeah. But pastel de nata is still fighting there, so
Okay, Pastel
a
Nat
good one. A
is
good
also
one.
an interesting one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and this was it. Thank you so much, Danielle. I really love
You're
the
welcome.
story, and it's so good to see that for so long that you are staying on the same company, you still have the same passion, and it's so
Yep.
curious to see how do you balance that with the researcher live and teaching live.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing to see someone that is so passionate for something like
you.
you're doing.
Thank you very much. It was
Yeah.
a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening to this, and stay tuned for another episode. Thank you.
Bye, Internet.